सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल दबाएं ताकि कोई खबर रह न जाए।
Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. You're watching Front Page on Bold News. This is me, Moizur Rahman, and I'll be getting you news from all across the world. And without wasting any time, today we will be reporting a very big news that is coming from our region only, that Russia, that is a very big power of the world, has made a very bold diplomatic move. And in a bold diplomatic move with global implications, Russia has officially recognized the Taliban-led government of Afghanistan, becoming the first country in the world to formally do so. This is a big move by Russia, and the announcement was made during a high-level meeting between the Russian ambassador Dmitry Zhirnov and Afghanistan's acting foreign minister Maulvi Amir Muttaqi Khan in Kabul. A picture of the moment was also shared by the Afghan Ministry of Foreign Affairs along with a statement hailing it as a historic step, and the statement further added that this is the beginning of a new chapter of mutual respect and cooperation, added the Afghan officials in the statement released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Afghanistan. The Taliban flag has now been raised at the Afghan embassy in Moscow, marking a significant shift in how Russia views the current Afghan administration, not just as a de facto authority, but now actually as a de jure legitimate government of Afghanistan that represents the will of its own people. Adding to the occasion, Ambassador Zhirnov, who's Russia's ambassador to Afghanistan, said that Russia's decision would pave the way for stronger diplomatic and economic ties and help bring stability to a country that has remained diplomatically isolated since the United States withdrew from the country in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, this recognition is not just symbolic. It could unlock pathways for investment, reconstruction, aid, and regional integration, especially as Afghanistan holds a central position in emerging trade corridors connecting Russia, Central Asia, and South Asia. And this can also bring a lot of stability to Afghanistan, and Afghanistan's stability is tantamount to the region. So while most of the international community has maintained a policy of non-recognition due to concerns over human rights, women's rights, and political inclusivity, Russia's move breaks that consensus. It is not just a diplomatic headline, but it's a potential turning point in Afghanistan's return to global fold, and it actually signals Moscow's growing influence in shaping the post-Western geopolitics in the region. After Russia's recognition of Afghanistan, this gives an opportunity to Afghanistan to actually come at par with the world, and Pakistan has also maintained the policy that a stable Afghanistan is very important to Pakistan as well as the region. So now, after discussing this story, and we will actually discuss this in further detail as well, as this is a very important development in the context of our region, and also Pakistan has maintained that Afghanistan's stability is also very important to Pakistan as well as the region. Now let's talk about how India is muffling voices again, and it has reimposed media bans on Pakistani celebrities after a brief reversal that authorities are dismissing as a technical glitch. This actually exposes the systematic nature of New Delhi's censorship regime. Pakistani celebrities including Hania Ahmed, Shahid Afridi, and Mahira Khan found their Instagram and Twitter accounts accessible to Indian users on Wednesday. These accounts, along with major Pakistani YouTube channels, and that included Bold News as well, had been geo-blocked for months. By Thursday morning, all were restricted again. And this shows that how India wants to muffle voices and block flow of information to its people. Instagram now displays account not available in India. This is because we complied with a legal request to restrict this content. Indian government sources told India Today, which is an Indian newspaper, that the temporary access resulted from a technical glitch, and one official stated that if you can see some accounts either on X, YouTube, or other social media platforms like Meta, they will be inaccessible in a few hours. Some technical glitch led to the unblocking, and they have been rectified now. The original bans followed the April 22nd Pahalgam attack in the Indian illegally occupied Kashmir that killed 26 people. India blamed Pakistan without evidence, and India did massive falsified propaganda against Pakistan, and Pakistan clearly rejected the allegations, and the restrictions expanded after the Indian strikes and the violation of Pakistani sovereignty on the 7th of May, which targeted civilian areas and mosques in Kotli, Bahawalpur, Murid ke Bagh, and Muzaffarabad. Pakistani celebrities including Fahad Mustafa, Hina Altaf, Hina Khwaja Bayat, and other showbiz attacks, they condemned the attacks on civilian and religious sites, and after this condemnation, India's response was a pathetic display of immediate censorship of these voices. And the brief restoration revealed divisions within India. Some rational elements had actually advocated for the unbanning and lifting cultural restrictions, understanding that art should transcend political boundaries. However, these voices remain marginalized by a system that has actually weaponized entertainment content, especially after the maniac known as Narendra Modi has come into power. And this actually represents a fundamental corruption of artistic expression. India has transformed cultural content, traditionally a bridge between people, into an instrument of political oppression, and that has actually grown under the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is an extremist and a fascist and a wing of the RSS Hindutva ideology. And this actually incident demonstrates India's authoritarian approach to digital governance. A nation that projects itself as the world's largest democracy systematically suppresses dissenting voices while offering no transparent justification for its actions. India's Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has actually provided no official explanation for the bans. This arbitrary nature of these restrictions, actually implemented without any due process or formal announcement, reveals the nature and the extent of India's digital authoritarianism and the system in play at large in India of actually muffling voices. The weaponization of social media platforms against Pakistani artists exposes India's broader pattern of using technology as a tool of state control. This approach contradicts every principle of democratic governance and free expression. And this is very, very unfortunate, and actually exposes India's true face, how they see cultural connections. Cross-border cultural connections built over decades are being deliberately severed by policies that treat entertainment content as a national security threat. The paranoia driving these decisions reflects a government-led, increasingly isolated from rational discourse. And obviously, ever since Narendra Modi has come into power, there has been no rationality in India's trade policies. India's digital censorship regime continues to expand, targeting artists whose only crime was actually speaking against attacks on civilians as well as Pakistan's sovereignty. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting's silence on these bans demonstrates the arbitrary nature of India's digital policy that is nothing more than digital terrorism. And this actually story exposes the gap between India's democratic rhetoric and its authoritarian practices. When a nation that claims to champion development and progress systematically silences artistic voices, it actually reveals the hollow nature of democratic pretensions. We will actually continue talking about this because that's what Front Page is about, where we don't just report the news, we unmask power structures making it happen. From India's censorship of critics to its treatment of Muslims, we bring you the unvarnished truth. So stay with us, don't go anywhere, let's take a break. Keep watching Bold News. Welcome back. You're watching Front Page live on Bold News. Before going on the break, we talked about a major diplomatic move by Moscow, where it recognized the Taliban government officially, as well as we exposed India muffling voices. Now let's talk about how Iran's exiled crown prince has lost all his credibility after backing Israel. And now we turn to the unfolding drama within Iran's exiled opposition, where Raza Pahlavi, son of the last Shah of Iran, has seen a major collapse in support, not just inside Iran, but across large parts of the diaspora. Why? because when Israel bombed Iran, killing over 900 innocent Iranian civilians, Pahlavi not only failed to condemn the attacks, but he rallied behind them, calling it a Berlin Wall moment and urging Iranians to rise up and overthrow the regime. So he tried to gain power through this, but ended up getting red-faced all across the world. Pahlavi, speaking from Paris just hours before the ceasefire on the June 24, claimed that the Islamic Republic was collapsing and positioned himself as the new leader and as the transitional leader. But instead of mass protests, Iranians rallied behind the nation in the face of foreign aggression, rejecting both Israel's strikes and Pahlavi's call for insurrection. He has destroyed the Pahlavi brand, said the Iranian expert Trita Parsi, after Pahlavi excused Israeli bombings on civilian areas across Iran, which was actually a violation of all sorts of international law. This is not the first time that Pahlavi's ties to Israel have been exposed and have drawn criticism. In 2023, he visited Tel Aviv with his wife, posed with Benjamin Netanyahu, and prayed at the Western Wall while ignoring Al-Aqsa, one of Islam's biggest and important and most holiest sites. For most Iranians, secular or religious, this was a big red line that he crossed. And with time, he continues to cross the red line. And this is why analysts say that this close association with Israel is not about influence inside Iran, but about Israel using Pahlavi to justify its own hostility towards Tehran. Israel points to Pahlavi and says, "Look, Iranians want us to bomb them," said Parsi while commenting on this matter. Even within the Iranian opposition, Pahlavi's behavior has isolated him completely. A 2023 coalition of major activists, including Nobel laureate Sheri Ebadi and football legend Ali Karimi, quickly collapsed when Pahlavi refused sharing leadership and expected full control of that opposition leadership. He has also allied himself with the hardline United States think tanks that push for harsher sanctions and for the regime change across Iran, policies that have actually devastated ordinary Iranians and not the regime elite. So this shows that Pahlavi only wants a grab of power and he does not care about what the ordinary Iranians want. He's asking Iranians to rise up while living in a mansion in Washington, D.C., said one British Iranian critic. Pahlavi once symbolized a return to secular Iran, but today his alignment with Israel actually is tone deaf and calls for uprising during a war, and refusal to share power have turned him from here to a political liability, both for Iran's opposition and for those seeking credible change. And this actually shows that if there is a disconnect between you and the people, you end up getting exposed. So we will continue discussing this in great detail, but now let's turn to England, where there has been a very heartbreaking news from the city of Liverpool, where the death of Liverpool forward Diego Jota, and he is one of the stars of England's biggest clubs, has left the entire football world in shock. And this has been a very devastating news for all the world, especially the world of football fans. They have left the world of football shattered. Diego Jota, the beloved Liverpool and the Portugal forward, has tragically died in a car crash in Spain. He was just 28 years old, and Jota and his brother were on board the car. Andre Silva were traveling through the Spanish countryside when their car crashed, killing both of them. Sources say that Jota had actually chosen to drive, and he took the ferry back to Liverpool for the pre-season training because of the recent minor surgery which doctors advised made flying risky. Further adding to this heartbreaking update that just 11 days ago, he married his longtime partner Ruto Cardoso and the mother of their 3 children as well. The images from their wedding now carry a haunting weight on people all across the world. Liverpool Football Club called this incident a big tragedy that transcends football, and fans all across the footballing world have already begun gathering at the Anfield Stadium, leaving flowers, scarves and candles in tribute. Liverpool's manager R.S. Scott, visibly shaken and shattered, said that Jota embodied the essence of what a Liverpool player should be: respected, humble, fierce on the pitch and kind of it. And when I talk about his performance and him as a player, Jota was more than just a footballer. With his intelligence, energy, and knack of scoring crucial goals, he had become a fan favorite at Liverpool since joining them 4 years ago in 2020. For Portugal, he was a consistent attacking threat, a vital part of the national team setup, and one of the fan favorites across the footballing world, as well as especially in Portugal. So in a sports filled with giants, Diego Jota stood out not only for his talent but for his humanity. The football world mourns a player who still had so much left to give: a husband, a father, a brother, a right forever. And we extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, his teammates, and the millions who adored him, and especially the fans of the Liverpool Football Club. We will continue to discuss stories, especially today we discussed how the Taliban recognition, why Moscow might actually be a key towards Afghanistan's stability. And Afghanistan's stability is very, very important to the region as well, the region of South Asia, because the instability across Afghanistan has actually destabilized the entire region for decades. And it is also imperative that the Taliban regime addresses the concerns that the world has about Afghanistan with regards to the human rights, the rights of women, the rights and the access of women to education, good healthcare. So it is important that they do that so that things progress in the right direction. As a stable Afghanistan is very important for the region as well as for Afghanistan and its own people. And we also discussed how India continues to muffle voices who actually talk sense. So we will continue talking about all these topics, but our show has come to an end. We will see you next week in our new show. So till then, stay tuned, take a lot of care, have a lovely weekend. Please share your feedback on both social media handles. This is me, Moizur Rahman, signing off. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.
सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल दबाएं ताकि कोई खबर रह न जाए।